Okay, just have to get this recorded too, because I think I'm going to share this on YouTube as well, because it's super important. So let me get in and we are live. Perfect. So I am going to be watching for any comments. Make sure everyone's getting their questions answered. If you have any questions, put them in the comment box. If for some reason I don't see it, you know me, I always come back and answer them. So don't be afraid to ask me anything. Now, many bakers struggle with this specific issue because I think what's happening is they're trying to build their business, and sometimes it feels like they're kind of unable to get their message out of their current circle, maybe their current group of friends or the few people that are ordering from them. For some reason, it feels like they can't go any further. And I noticed that happening, usually about in the first year or so, not being sure how to get your name out there. So that's why we're going to talk about this today. Again, I'm covering 3 strategies. So we're going to go through each of them. And if you have questions about them, as we talk about them, just put them over in the comments. At the very end of the live, I will let you know where to find some extra resources about everything we're talking about today, so that if you decide that you want to actually implement and start using these strategies to get your name out there, you know where to find the resources to help you do that, okay? Now, if you are here with me live, go ahead and put up your hashtag live. I see Tina, Judy, Jennifer, so glad to see you here. Hello from Santa Fe, yeah, still here in California. It's actually kind of cold today. Windy and cold. So that's what you get for being in the desert, I guess. Alrighty, so let me know in the comments for anyone that's here live or on the replay, what is your current strategy, if you kind of have one in mind, that you're using right now to get your name out into the community? There's literally no wrong answer. People are very inventive about the way that they get into their community, and every community is completely different. So you might have an outlet or a resource that other people don't have. You might have a strategy that is kind of new to the industry, or maybe it's something that no one's ever heard of before. So, or maybe it's something really common that people do a lot. I want you to put that in the comments so that we can kind of see where the group is, what people are trying right now. Just give me one that you're using, okay? Now, the first strategy I want to talk about is networking. This is probably something you've heard before, but I want to talk a little bit about why it's really important and what I consider to be the most important part of networking, so that when you go out and actually do effort, put in effort to get some kind of success or some kind of return from the networking, that it gives you more bang for your buck. And I want to explain that, why I feel that way, because just over the last couple decades of doing this, there has been a clear difference between types of networking that I've tried and which ones actually pan out to turn into growth, rather than just kind of spinning my wheels. So networking, right, is one of the oldest, best ways to get your name out there. If you're wondering, how can I meet new people and get people interested in my business? It's literally to get out there and meet new people. And sometimes you have to make the effort to do that. Sometimes people come to you, but most of the time as a business owner, you're going to have to make some choices that get you out into your community. And this will put you outside of your own circle. So yes, attend the events, do what you're doing with your normal group now, but this is going to include you getting out of that regular circle. Okay, so this strategy is more about your actual connections and relationships with people. So the reason I'm saying this is because I have been at probably hundreds, maybe even over 1,000 market events, vendor events, carnivals, whatever, like groups where groups of people come and purchase from me and other people there. And a lot of times I'll start up conversations with other vendors, try to network, right? Try to get to know people. And it's very clear if someone's being genuine and they want to create like an actual relationship with me versus someone who's kind of not really interested in getting to know anybody and just kind of wants to keep to themselves. I know that it's hard for some maybe introverted people to get out there and put themselves out there. I totally get that. It might not feel good. It might not be what you want to do. You just want to be in the kitchen baking. I totally get that. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be a business owner, there's going to be part of it where you're going to have to put yourself out there to create a connection. And it might just be you have a couple really good connections, but you need to have at least a couple in the community to start this process of networking. So this is not, to me, networking is not like leaving a bunch of cards at the DMV. It's not giving some cards to your mom to have her hand out to her friends, right? Like that's not really networking. That's more advertising. That's more, it's very, you're not involved. And it's not going to be as effective because the real connection and the real relationships that you're building with the people around you, especially the people you don't already know, those are what's going to push your name out into the circles outside of where you are with gusto. Because if someone picks up your card at the DMV, they don't know you, they don't have a friend saying that they know you, there's really no connection to you. So it's like you have to physically go out and make those connections. Sometimes you can do this online. It's a lot easier to do it in person. So I'll give you another strategy to kind of show you where you can maybe do that. But that's where you're going to get a lot of movement pretty quickly. Word of mouth, get your name in the community. Because ultimately, you want people to know you so that they can learn to like you and then they can trust you. So know, like, trust, it's like one of the biggest social sales situations that you're going to be dealing with when you're building your audience. They first have to know who you are, and then they have to learn to like you because you're putting out content they agree with, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. You're staying consistent, which we'll talk about as well. And then they learn to trust you because they have maybe made a small purchase or you made something for their event. And it's a cycle that they go through. But getting to know you first, usually through a friend or someone that has already made a connection with you, it's a lot easier to get your name pushed out to other people. Because really they need to have a reason to go with you and not someone else. And having met you in person, having spoken with you, or having a friend who's spoken with you is usually kind of like who you know, right? That's sort of how the world turns, is it's about who you know. And so that's kind of what we're talking about with this strategy. Now, networking can come in many shapes and sizes. There can be lots of different opportunities for this. That's kind of what's nice about it, is you can kind of craft it the way that fits to your lifestyle, the best, option that you can find for yourself. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody, but basically making it a point to get out into the community to make real, honest connections with them in person if you possibly can. So this could look like maybe attending a local charity event that you support and possibly donating a few items, staying for the event, and talking to the people who are bidding on your items or whatever, right? Like just being a representative for your business instead of just dropping something off. If you actually like the charity or you like the organization, why don't you stay and actually talk to people so that you can make those connections. Maybe it's attending the next Chamber of Commerce meeting, right? Like a lot of times those are public. You don't have to be on the Chamber of Commerce to go. If you do have to be on the Chamber of Commerce, I would highly suggest joining, because that's a really strong type of networking when you're sitting down with many other business owners or stakeholders in the community and literally just listening. You probably don't even have to say anything the first few times. Just kind of see, what are they talking about? What's the vibe here? Do I hear any opportunities? Is there anyone in the room that I feel like I could say hi to and maybe connect with? It's just good to be in those environments. Okay, people are putting in how they are networking, which is great. Okay, hey Amber. Okay, perfect. So those are some really good examples for y'all to see what the people here who are live right now are doing. And if anyone's on the replay, they can put theirs in too, so you can get kind of a vibe for what's going on. All right, a couple other examples for networking that might be joining a local foodies group. If there's a group on Facebook or something at the local library or something like that, joining that group, or maybe they're actual local bakers and they'll help each other out and they help, whatever it is, right? Some kind of group that's related to food or related to what you're doing, or even a small business group. Like we have a local small business meetup that happens about every month here. You go there, you network, you might mentor someone who's new, you might be able to ask some questions, you might partner with another business. It's really just putting you in that environment to make those in-person connections. Or making sure that you're chatting with a few new people at your next vendor event or your next market. Just pick one or two if you don't want to go down the whole line and have conversations with everyone. Maybe go over to their booth, maybe purchase something small, talk them up, give them your social handle, follow each other, whatever it is, maybe share samples, just again, to make those connections. And then lastly, making sure to chat with your local business owners and the staff when you are using local amenities. And this is one of the easiest ones because you're going to be going about your day, right? You're going to be at the grocery store anyway. You're going to be at the kids' clothing store anyway. You're going to be over getting your tire fixed anyway. So why not chat up the person at the front desk or kind of see what's going on with the business just to learn more about them? You literally never know where the opportunities are unless you start making the connections, because you could be sitting on, let's say that tire shop would love to spend a couple $100s a month getting baked goods to hand out to their clients. You don't know that, but you might if you actually started a conversation, maybe mention what you do or, something like that, and kind of see where things go, right? And sometimes you don't have to talk about what you do at all. Usually it just kind of comes up in normal conversation, or maybe it's not the first time you start the conversation, you talk about it, but maybe a couple times later say, hey, when we talked a couple weeks ago, I really got to thinking about, I was wondering, is there any way that you would want to work with me? I'm a baker and I really love this store and I think it's nice. And I was wondering, is there any option or opportunity for you to maybe want to gift things to your employees or start some kind of subscription for your break room or whatever, right? Just throwing some options out there. Okay. Now, I know, again, networking can be a little overwhelming because we are talking about starting relationships, and that can be emotionally straining. I get it. I'm not young, I'm not old, I'm kind of in the middle, but I have had lots of relationships in my life. And every time I make a new one, it takes a piece of my life to actually nurture that relationship and actually pay attention to it. So I understand you might not be able to befriend everybody in your community, but picking a couple of people to start with, I think is smart. So here's a challenge for you on networking, just to kind of get your feelers out there. Find a new outlet in your local area. Could be anything, honestly. Anything that maybe a hobby you're interested in, maybe the business group, maybe a foodies group, maybe something at the library that you want to join, whatever it is. And make it a point to take just the very first step to get involved today. So maybe that's joining the Facebook group. Maybe that's signing up for next week's play group. Maybe that is you're going to go to the business networking that the Chamber of Commerce is offering next month, right? Just pick one thing and take the first step to get involved. That's your challenge for today as far as networking goes. Okay. Number 2, I want to talk about, and again, we're covering 3 strategies to get your name out into your community. This one's a big one, and I know this can also be difficult to kind of wrap your mind around if maybe you're kind of a new business owner or you haven't really taken the front seat of your business as far as social media goes or anything like that. This one is authenticity. And I'm bringing this up because people can smell an unauthentic post or a conversation from a mile away. So if you're trying to network or you're trying to make connections with people, either online or offline, that aren't authentic to you, people are going to be able to tell that there's something wrong, right? Like maybe they don't trust you, or maybe they don't really understand what you're doing because you're not speaking in your own voice and you're not taking control of what you're doing and saying. Maybe you're trying to be like someone else. Maybe you're trying to post like someone else. Maybe you're afraid to share things like bloopers or mistakes. Maybe you don't talk about yourself at all. People have no idea who you are. They don't know what you look like. They have no idea where you're from. These are all points in which people can connect with you, talking about where you're from, showing a picture of you and showing how, you're in the kitchen and you're working on stuff. Being able to see a little bit about you and your authentic self is what helps people connect with you and then want to share your information with their friends and family because they've now been able to trust you to understand what you do, why you're doing it, and a little bit about who you are. So authenticity means if you want to get your name out there, that authenticity is going to allow you to do it a lot faster and be able to attract the people that you want to work with the most. So your ideal clients, they're going to be attracted to your authentic self because that's just the way it works, right? People want to purchase from people that they like. A lot of times we think, oh, they're only purchasing for the products, but that's not true. They're purchasing because of you too. And it feels really good to think like, oh my gosh, like they want to be my client because they like me. And a lot of times I feel like we're not sharing enough about ourselves. We're not sharing enough about our authentic life, our authentic thoughts, in feelings because we're worried about turning people off. And it could possibly turn certain people off, but it's not going to turn your ideal client off. And those are the people that you're looking for. Those are the people that you're trying to attract. Those are the people who will know, like, and trust you the fastest. And then those are the people who are going to share your information and get your name out into the community because they really, really, really like you. So that's kind of where authenticity comes into the fold. Now, this authenticity often includes knowing who you serve and why you're serving them. And after working with thousands of bakers across the world, I've come to the conclusion that a lot of times bakers get into baking because they're passionate about it. They baked for their families, and then, you know, people said, oh, you should sell this, so they're selling it. And there wasn't maybe a lot of thought put into who you want to serve and why you're serving them. So this could be kind of a backtrack situation where you need to kind of sit back and think, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Why is it authentic to me? And how is it serving the community? If I'm doing my thing, how is it serving them? So an example of this would be thinking or saying, you serve busy moms. Let's say that's your thing. You put together dessert party packages because you like serving busy moms. They don't have a lot of time to plan, but they want the birthday in the magazine, right? They want the beautiful birthday. But maybe it's because you know exactly what it feels like to be busy and not be able to plan your family event, and how much it means to you to have people help you plan your family event, right? So maybe you can actually put yourself in your ideal client's shoes, which isn't always the case, but maybe in this case you can, and you know exactly what it feels like to be able to find a service that you can trust to help, you know, your event be as beautiful as possible, even if you don't have all the time in the world yourself to make it happen. So trying to figure out what is it that you're doing? It's not just outside of the product. What service are you offering your community? What experience are you offering your community through your products? And then again, thinking of who it is I'm actually serving. So when you can pinpoint who you're serving, your messages become more authentic because you're able to speak to them directly in the messaging copy, in the words that you're saying, in the photos that you're sharing. It's meant for a certain group of people. And that's where those ideal clients are going to be more attracted to you, because now you're speaking their language. Authenticity also includes having the ability to speak directly to your client, like I just mentioned, through the copy and the subject matter. And this is kind of, you're going to have to figure out who it is first. Then you're going to put those two things together. And you might find out that your audience really loves to see bloopers. Or you might find out that your audience really loves to hear stories about what you're doing. Or maybe they really like to see you describe the product in like luscious words, and, you know, or maybe they like to see fun videos of you making things. You'll start to see what they like by their interaction on certain posts, or if you're at a vendor event, people might say that they've seen you do X, Y, Z. And then you can start building your authentic content based on what those clients are most attracted to. So you're doing what you like anyway, and you're just providing them what they're essentially asking for, right? And then lastly, authenticity is about being able to feel comfortable sharing what you can about your life that's real. So that might not be everything, okay? You don't have to come out here and tell me every single secret that's going on, what's going on with your family. That's not necessarily what I mean, but picking some things that you feel comfortable with. Maybe you want to talk about your family, or maybe you want to talk about your, when you grew up, what that was like, or maybe you want to share about the schooling. Maybe you went to culinary school or something like that, and you want to talk about that. Maybe you have a hobby right now that you're interested in. You want to talk about that. Something that's real about you and your life, or maybe something that's real about your business. Maybe you're trying to open a storefront and it's just really stinking hard, and you're having a lot of problems, and the plumbing's messed up, and the rent's going up, and you know, if you feel comfortable, you can share that kind of thing with your audience. And because it's authentic and real, people are going to respond to it, and then people are going to be able to better trust and know you, and then share, get your name out, right? Share your mission. You don't have to be perfect all the time. Some people are very nervous about sharing bloopers or mistakes. And I think there can be a fine line, but most of the time, if you're kind of laughing at yourself, or, you know, just humor, right? Helping other people laugh with you, that can be a good content source for keeping it authentic and keeping it real. And again, that authenticity can really start to attract more of your ideal clients as they connect with your authentic self through your copy, through your photos, through the words you're using. And then they share with their like-minded friends, and then you've got more ideal clients watching you. So that's kind of how that part's going to work. Okay. And then number 3 I want to talk about today, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, and that is consistency. Now, the way that consistency is going to help get your name out in your community is that, number 1, we know that it takes around 7 positive interactions with a cold client for them to be excited enough to possibly purchase from you if they weren't necessarily warmed to your products at first. That's a lot of times that someone has to look and be positively impacted by what you're doing before ever actually sending any money or being a client. So if that's the case, that means you really do have to be consistent in what you're doing, your messaging, your posting, your photos, your website, being at events, the consistency of your product. All of those things are pretty important. And it's really, I think, one of the biggest lessons to learn as you're working your business and growing your business is that consistency is building trust. So again, every time you make a move in your business, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make you money. I try to think about it and teach students to think about it as you're building trust. So whatever comes out of what you're doing, you're hoping that it's trust. Sometimes it's a sale, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're just building that relationship, and that's okay. And when people are ready to buy, they will buy. That doesn't mean it's going to happen every single time. So every post you make, every sale that you set up, it might not be the best. You might not be coming home with $5,000 every time you go to a vendor event, right? Like sometimes there are circumstances that are going to cause issues with making actual sales. And sometimes it's completely out of your control about that, right? But that's to be expected. Nobody's perfect. That's to be expected, right? Everything's going to kind of shift around, but that shouldn't stop you from staying consistent because it will pay off in the end. In fact, being consistent is one of the top cornerstones of successful people, right? Is just creating consistency in your life. So this could be, and you don't have to be consistent everywhere all the time, right? But you could start somewhere. So maybe today you can pick a place to start to be more consistent, come up with maybe a little routine that you can follow. The first one will be online presence. That's hard for some people. And to be honest with you, like I don't love being online. I'm more of like I like working and baking and making stuff. So staying consistent online is kind of hard for me. I usually just shoot for something in the morning, something around lunch, and something in the evening. That's pretty much it. And I shift that around between business pages and groups and personal page, and I just kind of sprinkle things around personally. You could also be consistent in your local presence. So an example, let's say you have like a monthly market or a monthly get together or something happening that's business related. Maybe you could say, today I'm going to commit to going to that event for at least 3 months straight, right? Or 6 months straight, or whatever it is. Try to create that routine of consistency and start to see how that feels, start to see how that's affecting your growth and getting your name out. Consistency in your product is huge. There's a lot to say on that one. It's not the topic of today's conversation, but I would suggest if for some reason you're unable to create consistency, so taste, texture, look, everything about it, if you can't create consistency, it usually means that there's something on the back end that's not working. So recipes need to be revamped. You need to commit to a packaging situation, something like that. So if you can get consistency in your product, that's where I'd want you. You might have to do a few things on the back end to make that happen. And then lastly, this is honestly, I think one of the biggest ones, and it's consistency in your customer service. There are things that you can set up to help with that. Automations, website automations, emailing, putting notes on, little postcard, cute notes on your products, making those connections with your customers, making sure that you're responding in a timely manner during business hours if you want to keep a business hour set up, making sure people get their messages answered, making sure people feel that they understand the process, they understand the contract, all of that, right? You want to try to treat every customer the same and give everyone the same opportunity to work with you. And then also make sure everyone understands what's happening so expectations can be managed. And that usually leads to a lot better interactions with customers if you can stay consistent with your customer service. I will say that here where I live right now, there's a lot of people who will start a small business and basically kind of like give up after a couple months. And I truly believe it's because they aren't staying consistent, right? Like I'm watching them, I guess specifically on social. I'm watching them and I'm noticing like they're only posting, they'll post like 6 times in one day and then they won't post for a week and a half. Or they're not keeping anyone updated, or their photos are kind of dark, or they're not describing their product at all. I don't even know what it is. So trying to have a little routine for everything that you're doing can help. It can make it a lot easier to stay consistent. And then it can also kind of show your audience, hey, you can trust me. This is what this is how it's going to be when I post, or this is how it's going to be when I update you with my menu. And it takes some time to get that together. So if you're brand new, the consistency will come as long as you're kind of paying attention to it. Okay, and with this one, just helping yourself by creating those little routines we talked about, getting a strategy plan set up with a timeline of the year, what are your goals, and similar things like that will keep you on task and ready to engage consistently because you've got kind of a plan behind you. So it doesn't take as much mental power to figure out what you need to focus on. And with this one, starting small, it can be overwhelming. I suggest just start small, get used to a routine, maybe pick one thing to have a routine around. That could be online posting, that could be baking routine, anything that you can feel like you can start with. That will be your challenge for this one today. Just kind of pick a small routine that you can insert and figure out. You can start to see that making your life a little bit easier as you get used to it. And that's for anyone who maybe has some difficulty staying consistent. Okay, so number 1, networking. In person is the best, making a real connection with at least a couple people. The challenge is to go out and take the first step to join some kind of group that you can start networking in. Number 2 is authenticity, trying to share more about the realness of what's going on either inside your business or with you to help people connect with you on a real level. And a lot of times that literally means just showing your face. For instance, we're on Facebook right now. It's literally Facebook is about faces, like it's about showing people's faces. So having something, even if it's an older photo or a cropped photo or something like that, just so people can kind of see who you are, see what you're doing. Try to take a quick selfie doing something baking related and sharing something that's kind of real. See what kind of, see if you can get some more eyeballs on you with that. And then consistency, of course. So being consistent as much as possible. So those are the 3 things that I would suggest to get your name into the community. You need to start kind of turning those wheels so that people start to know you, like you, trust you, and sharing information about you. Okay. If you have any questions about those, let me know. Denise says, any suggestions for how to take complimentary items to a nursing home for workers? I'm assuming, you can correct me, but I'm assuming you're talking about just dropping off free product for the workers at the nursing home. And so if it were me, I would make whatever it is. I would put any allergens that's in there just in case, like if they're whatever the allergens are, just so that everybody understands what's in the product because you don't want to cause any allergies or anything. I would wrap it up cute, however you want to do it. You could put it in a cute basket, just one of your regular boxes. And then I would write some kind of note. I have little postcards that look like this. I can show you. That look like this. So it's got some photos of what I do, tagline, and then on the back, it has a QR code for more information, just a little bit about what's going on with me. And then here on the postcard area is where I write my note. So you can use just a thank you card or something instead of something like that, but you could also get something like that made. And then just say something nice, thank them for their hard work. Let them know that, they should treat themselves today and this is for them. And just really, truly, push forward that it's a gift for them to enjoy. Maybe, you're obviously going to have like your business card or something in there so they can contact you if they want to order something or if they want to, get to know more about your business. But yeah, I would just make it super authentic, right? Like, I'm just here to give you all these treats. I appreciate what you're doing and enjoy. That's what I would do. Okay. Now I told you I would let you know where to get your resources. And for everything that we mentioned today, what's kind of interesting is that everything we mentioned today is covered inside the Elite Mentorship Program. So we have, gosh, it's almost 3 years worth of content that me and the other expert coaches have been creating on a monthly basis to fill what we call the Vault Library. So it's just lots of business content labeled out. So whenever somebody in the Elite program needs some information on XYZ, hiring, licenses, social media, Instagram Reels, organizing their kitchen, strategy planning. I mean, literally, it's like over 100 hours of content, and it's all sectioned out and curated for you so you know what everything is. It's all in there. So we have all these specific trainings on every single thing that we mentioned today and a lot more. And what's nice about those videos is they're on replay, so they're 24/7 accessible. And when you comment on them, the person that posted the video can still see the comments because they're live videos in our private group. So even if they were shot last year, you can still comment with your questions and we can answer them. So it's kind of like live response, but recorded videos. Okay. And again, these were all created by me and the marketing coach, the organization and photography coach. And then we also had a financial coach in there for the first year, and she put in some business starting videos, some financial information videos, basically the beginning videos of finances that you'd want to watch as you're setting up your business, or if you're trying to revamp your finances, she put those in there for you. So if you are wanting some of that valuable information covering things like strategy planning, business and home life routines, networking, in-person events, consistency, social media, online authenticity, that's its own training, and over 100 hours more on various topics, product demos, online classes, like pretty much everything that you can think of is in there. We have it for you right now and it's ready to go. It's literally just a little fountain of knowledge waiting for you to come take it. So until the end of March, we are offering a monthly membership that includes access to both that Vault library full of all the content and weekly group coaching, which is what I'm offering. It's around every Wednesday, about every Wednesday at certain times of day for our group of elites. But that option is going away soon. So it's no longer going to be offered on a monthly basis. So if you do think that you want that, you want some group coaching and you want all that Vault library access, you'll need to get in now. So send me a message, let me know, you can go check it out. Because it's leaving, it's going to be gone on April 1st. To focus on implementation, which I'm hearing people have issues with, and we also wanted to come up with a way to help more elites get into the Vault library. We're changing some things up, and we are separating some elements to offer a more affordable membership option, which was what's going to happen on April 1st. So on April 1, we're going to remove the monthly coaching and Vault access option. So if you want that one, you need to get it now, and you can keep it after this month as long as you want. And we're going to make that annual instead. So to get that one, you would have to purchase yearly instead of monthly. That's doable for some people and not for others. So if you have questions about that, let me know, but that's how we're changing that option. And we're adding a more affordable silver tier. We're renaming the tiers. This is the silver tier. And this one involves access to that huge Vault library that I just told you all about, and a new monthly business challenge. With that challenge, we're going to help you implement the content in the Vault on a monthly basis so you can have new wins and grow your business every single month with a challenge that's included with your membership. And it's going to be an expert coach taking you through the challenge and helping you through it so that you can actually finish it and understand how to complete the challenge. So that's going to be super fun. We're really excited to start doing that. And so the silver tier is going to focus highly on motivation and using that fountain of knowledge regularly and consistently on a monthly basis. So if you're interested, I want you to comment with silver tier, and I can send you the link so that you can get a spot on the wait list for the first 10 members in April. The wait list is almost full. So if you want on the wait list, what will happen is I will email you when the slots open, and you'll receive a discounted rate for the first 10 people, and you can keep that for the lifetime of your membership. So it's not the first month, it's for as ever long as you want to be in there, you get that discounted rate. And that's just for the first 10 beta users that we're going to bring in April. So message me directly if you want to talk about that program, if you're not really sure what it is, you want more information. Or I do offer free 20-minute consultations just to give you an overall view of who we are, what we're doing, to find out more about your journey, find out if this would be a good fit for you, and figure out which tier might seem like it would work the best. And of course, take any of your questions. And I can send you the link for that as well. So you can comment here with consultation. I can send you the link for the free 20 minutes, or you can send me a message and we can chat there as well. Okay. All right. Oh, you're welcome, Judy. Thank you. I'm always so helpful. Oh, touches my heart. Denise says, are the front desk people receptive to letting this in? Denise, I honestly, it would be totally up to them. I don't know. Usually anyone that's working in healthcare is pretty excited to get a treat. It's a very stressful job and people tend to enjoy that. I've never been turned away from dropping something off, but what you could do is before you go through all of this process to bring them something, you could just do a quick call in and say, hi, I'm a local baker in the area and I would really love to bring y'all some treats. Is it okay if I drop off on Monday or Tuesday or whatever day you want to bring it? And then they can let you know if that's a policy that they might have a policy around that, or they might need it to be individually packaged, or they might be totally open to whatever. So maybe just calling first. Oh, you're welcome. For sure. Okay. Yep. Everyone, hopefully, just like Judy said, we're going to go, hopefully all have great days. I'll be hanging out in the group. You can comment, tag me, send me a message. If you have questions about the silver tier, like I said, it's opening April 1. And the other monthly option that includes the weekly coaching that helps you work through problems, brainstorm, just have a connection with someone else so you don't feel lonely, talking about all those little nitty gritty things that maybe your family members don't want to hear about anymore. That's what we do on a weekly basis. We just hang out baker to baker and talk about what's going on. So if that sounds like something you want, and the challenge that we're implementing and the vault library access, and you want to pay for it monthly, broken down into smaller payments, I would get in now and get your spot before I take it off on April 1. But if you'd prefer silver tier, that's coming April 1, the smaller one without the coaching, get on the wait list for that, because I'm pretty sure those 10 spots are going to go pretty much right away. So I want to make sure that you can get it. Since you're here and watching me, you should have the best chance to get into that. So let me know so I can make sure you can kind of get in wherever, whatever feels best to you. Okay. All right. All right. I'll see you later. Have a great day.